If you don't think that's funny, get the hell out of here, because that's funny right there now. Get her done, that's right. Get her done! Get her done!
The comedy world is on the brink of a major revelation. Get ready for a jaw-dropping surprise that will leave you speechless. Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian who once ruled the stage, suddenly vanished from the spotlight. But what dark forces led him to abruptly abandon his comedy career? Was it a hidden battle, a personal crisis, or a shocking scandal? Today, we'll uncover the true reason behind Larry the Cable Guy's mysterious exit from comedy. Before getting into the shocking reason behind Larry the Cable Guy's departure from comedy, it's essential to understand his past and how Daniel Lawrence Whitney grew into the well-known comedian we know as Larry the Cable Guy. The blue-collar blueprint. Larry the Cable Guy's rise to fame was anything but ordinary. Born Daniel Lawrence Whitney on February 17, 1963, in the small town of Pawnee City, Nebraska, Larry's humble beginnings were marked by a childhood of gritty hard work and determination. His country roots run deep. Growing up on an 80-acre farm in Nebraska, he was basically a farm boy from day one. And here's the thing. Larry was raised with strong moral principles and a strong sense of community. Since his mother, Shirley, was a waitress and his father was a Christian minister, it makes sense that his humor is so genuine and grounded. It comes right from the farm. His Southern upbringing is the key to his amazing comedy. But they had no idea that their son would go on to become a huge star and the center of controversy. Larry went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln after high school, but he didn't stay long in the ivory towers of academia. He gave up on his dreams of earning a certificate and entered the comedy club scene with the intention of becoming a stand-up sensation. Larry developed his untapped skill at dirty comedy clubs and dark bars, creating a relatable, approachable style that would appeal to a wide audience. His unapologetic humor would soon light up the comedy world. He was a renegade with a microphone. With his razor-sharp one-liners, Larry was killing it in the stand-up scene before he turned into the beloved Larry the Cable Guy. With 15 zingers in a succession, he was like a joke machine, leaving the audience stunned. He was so unstoppable that his fellow comedians called him the freight train of comedy. Larry was still getting his footing during this period, experimenting with several looks and characters before settling on the endearing, grounded persona that has helped him become well-known. And believe me when I say that it changed everything. When Larry the Cable Guy first started doing stand-ups, he was, to put it mildly, a little lost. Doing what came to mind, the comedian would put out one-liners that probably made no sense but were funny as hell. And in one of those rather nonsensical minutes, the character Larry the Cable Man came into play. Soon, he incorporated 10 to 12 minutes of politics. He soon cut it as was never a politics guy. After making the audacious decision to relocate to Orlando, Florida in the late 1980s, Larry attacked the Comedy Zone stages, leaving a trail of damage and hilarity in his wake. It was at this location that he met Jeff Foxworthy, his eventual crime-fighting sidekick, and the two comedians became an unstoppable team. Larry was a local comic and the house MC at this spot, and he was totally obsessed with the Braves. Meanwhile, Jeff was a struggling comedian with zero cash, so they couldn't even afford tickets to the game. But they found a sneaky way in. They'd grab a coffee and donut at Dunkin' Donuts, then slip in with the players when they were walking in. They would spend their mornings laughing about jokes while watching batting practice in the stands. They were already seated and ready to go when the game began. They would joke about and support the Braves during the day, then take the stage at night to entertain the crowd with their antics. And just like that, a legendary comedy duo was born. Larry spoke about how he and Jeff grew close in an interview with Vulture. Jeff used to come down 2 weeks a year. It was a blast. We grew up pretty much the same and laughed at the same stuff, the absurdities of things. We would sit there in the stands, and he would kind of lean over out of the blue and say, "Hey, did you tell Edna to bring that potato salad up on Thursday?" I'd say, "She didn't say nothing about it. I know she gets worried about that mayonnaise, so she may wait till the morning." We would literally make up a conversation between two old Southern guys. Right then, we knew we had a lot in common. Together, they set out on a wild tour of comedy clubs and festivals, selling out gigs and breaking people's hearts all across the country. They had no idea that their wild behavior and hilarious antics would quickly make them the most sought-after men in comedy. From there, his comedic pursuit took an irreversible turn as he went from a broke farm boy to selling out venues. In 1990, Larry unveiled his outrageous alter ego, Larry the Cable Guy, a witty, beer-drinking, cable TV installer redneck with a mouth as nasty as a frat house. With the character's rapid popularity, Larry's fame shot through the roof as he began opening for comedy heavyweights like Jeff Foxworthy and Bill Engvall. His fan base grew to millions of Americans who were glued to his every one-line joke. Larry became the go-to person for classic boy comedy, with a twist because of his unvarnished, uncensored humor, which was the ideal counterbalance to the politically correct crowd. Along with Larry's debut, his catchphrase, "Git-R-Done," arose in the 1990s when he was first making radio appearances. The phrase just appeared out of nowhere in 1991 as Larry was doing a segment, and it became popular and stuck. It quickly became a signature part of his comedic vibe, and the rest is history. "I popped it out in 1991, the first time I ever did radio," Larry said. "I had no idea it was going to become what it became." The catchphrase, "Git-R-Done" by Larry the Cable Guy was more than simply a hilarious one-liner. It became a sensation all through society at large. It turned into his stand-up routine's centerpiece, cementing his status as a comedy legend, and, let's face it, a little bit of a troublemaker. When he finally dropped the famous statement, the crowd would go crazy. Fans would literally be waiting with bated breath for him to do so. It was almost like a rite of passage, and Larry was the master of ceremonies. We're talking belly laughs, applause, and possibly even a few tears of joy, of course. Meet the boys from the opposite side of the tracks, who became hugely popular in comedy. The ridiculous foursome behind the Blue Collar Comedy Tour is made up of Larry, Jeff, Bill, and Ron. Prepare to laugh, and maybe even get a little offended. The country was unprepared for the Blue Collar Comedy Tour when Larry and his motley crew of misfits, including Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, and Ron White, unveiled it in 2000. What was the outcome? Complete madness as the tour grossed over $15 million. The tour ravaged the nation, packing arenas and stadiums and making a staggering amount of money. The tour became a cultural phenomenon, causing havoc and a lot of laughter in its wake, thanks to the foursome's unfiltered and honest comedy that connected with the general public. The Blue Collar Comedy Tour helped Larry the Cable Guy become a household name. From 2000 to 2006, he was often paired with Ron White, Bill Engvall, and Jeff Foxworthy. This comedy group had some incredible spin-offs and sold out arenas across the country. What magic is this, really? The friendly rivalry among these four humorous guys. Like a well-oiled machine, they catered to each other's humor and styles, making every live concert an absolute blast. Of course, the other guys adored incorporating Larry's famous "Git-R-Done" catchphrase into their own shows, and the audience would always go crazy. It became the ultimate inside joke. The phenomenal success of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour ignited a revolution on television. The hilarious avalanche of skits, parodies, and stand-up routines that Blue Collar TV unleashed on the WB and the CW left viewers in stitches. The show turned into a cult favorite, propelling Larry to prominence and solidifying his place in popular culture. Larry dominated the small screen with his signature wit and irreverent humor, and people began to associate his face with a good time and laughter. Larry the Cable Guy was also killing it in the movies and TV industry. His Morning Constitutions TV show from 2007 was a huge hit, and the companion record was the cherry on top. Yes, we thought Larry was amusing already, but this was something else entirely. We were all just passengers on his hilarious rock star journey, of which he was officially a part. His distinct sense of humor was on display, as he starred in a number of hilarious movies, such as Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector, Delta Farce, and Witless Protection. Also, he demonstrated his ability to make audiences of all ages laugh and smile by lending his voice to animated blockbusters like Cars, and Cars 2. With a comedy-rich film career, Larry cemented his place as a major player in Hollywood. Despite his quick ascent to popularity, Larry never forgot his modest beginnings. He never wavered from his commitment to his blue-collar background, maintaining a sense of reality and a relationship with his fans, the ones who mean the most. Thanks to his approachable and down-to-earth humor, he has become a beloved comic hero for millions of people. What about his legacy? Truly extraordinary. Even now, Larry's influence on the comedy industry is felt, encouraging a new wave of comedians and comedy enthusiasts to carry on his legacy. He's the real deal, a genuine comedic hero who has irrevocably changed the world of humor. But what happens when Larry's humor pushes the boundaries too far? Will he crash and burn or emerge victorious in the comedy chaos that ensues? Pushing boundaries and buttons. Larry the Cable Guy's career went from red-hot to ice-cold in a flash. After riding high in the mid-2000s, his movies started tanking big time. We're talking Witless Protection, 2008, and A Medea Christmas, 2013, level flops, where he was outrightly nominated for the Worst Actor 3 times in a row by the Golden Raspberry Award. Critics and fans alike were left scratching their heads, wondering what happened to the guy who once brought the laughs. And don't even get us started on his TV shows like Only in America with Larry the Cable Guy, 2011-2013, which failed to get any traction. It's been a long and painful slide for this comedian. And if that wasn't enough, his personal life was a hot mess too. Just when his career was taking a hit, his former manager threw a legal punch, suing him for millions in unpaid commissions. The lawsuit was a messy affair, with both sides trading blows until they finally settled out of court. But the damage was done. Larry's rep took a serious hit, and his popularity began to plummet. It was a 1-2 punch that left him reeling. First his career, then his personal life. Could things get any worse for this troubled comedian? Larry the Cable Guy created a heated scandal with his social media shenanigans. There was a lot of outrage after he was accused of using racist and homophobic remarks on Twitter. Though the damage was already done, Larry attempted to hide his tracks by saying his account had been hacked. Many of his supporters turned on him, calling him a hate-monger and a bigot. The comedian's career continued to spiral, and his reputation went south. His career appeared to be in free collapse, and he disappeared from the public eye. He became a private person, avoiding interviews and public appearances like the plague. With a thud, R remains seated, 2020. His final attempt to salvage his comedic career collapsed, and he ultimately gave up, declaring his retirement from stand-up. A career that had previously shown so much potential came to a tragic end. Was Larry truly a victim of cyber-sabotage, or was his attempt to pin the blame on hackers only a flimsy pretext? In any case, it appears that this comedian's fame has fully faded and won't be coming back anytime soon. Larry the Cable Guy just can't catch a break. Despite his attempts to revive his career, he's still haunted by his controversial past. In 2022, he sparked outrage with transphobic comments on social media, leading to a fresh wave of criticism and boycotts. This comedian's penchant for pushing boundaries has finally caught up with him, and his decline has been marked by a string of public feuds, lawsuits, and accusations of bigotry. A year later, Larry and Chris Rock embarked on a joint tour, showcasing their comedic talents to attract a larger audience and earning millions of dollars. However, their separation caused tensions to arise. Chris claimed that Larry had broken their agreement by exploiting his jokes without giving credit. Larry was sued by Chris in a court for a whopping $500,000 in unpaid fees. Now that's a huge amount of money. Things got a lot messier when Larry failed to respond to the lawsuit summons. He claimed he was always on the road with his act and didn't get the legal documents, but the court didn't buy it since he could have been served through certified mail or newspaper publication. The major problem stemmed from Larry's breach of contract, as he used Chris's material after the split without consent. The court had to decide whether Larry had a good justification for ignoring the summons and whether the other means of notification were sufficient. But as Larry was unable to provide a plausible explanation for his absence, Chris won the case by default. That's a lot of tight spots for one guy. While some fans still stand by him, his legacy is now tainted by his actions, and his place in the comedy world is up for debate. Has Larry's humor finally gone too far? Has he become a casualty of his own controversial antics? The comedy world is divided, and only time will tell if Larry is able to redeem himself. Larry's finally opening up about the real reasons he walked away from the mic. Hint: it's not what you'd expect. From personal struggles to industry frustrations, Larry's sharing it all, and it's a wild ride. The truth behind his decision to quit comedy. We were shocked when Larry the Cable Guy announced he was quitting comedy, and it's a story that's way more complicated than you'd think. In a candid interview, he revealed that his decision to hang up his mic was all about putting his family and his own well-being first. The constant travel, the crushing pressure to perform, and the near-total absence of work life balance had pushed him to the brink of collapse, leaving him physically and mentally exhausted. The comedian saw that his very well-being was at risk and that he needed to stand back, reevaluate his goals, and choose a healthier course of action. It had really started to wear me down. The lack of work-life balance, the pressure to perform, and the constant travel, Larry said. I came to the realization that I had to take a step back and prioritize my health, my family, and achieving a better sense of balance in my life. Larry the Cable Guy's family has been along for the wild ride. The comedian also revealed that his family has been his rock throughout his career, which has been a whirlwind of non-stop performances. We're talking 287 shows a year. His kids basically grew up on the tour bus, and we're not exaggerating when we say they've got some seriously funny memories, like bath time in the kitchen sink. Despite the unconventional upbringing, Larry's kids are super close with their parents and get along well with adults, probably because they didn't have much of a traditional childhood, hanging out with other kids and all that. He also disclosed that his family's life on the road gave them a unique perspective on life. They've seen it all. But Larry's scaled back his grueling tour schedule since 2015, now doing around 24 shows a year in a handful of pro-am golf tournaments. Let's be real, the constant traveling was exhausting. But in showbiz, you never know when your time in the spotlight will fade. You've got to strike while the iron's hot, right? The comedian also expressed his displeasure, saying, "It got tedious, but when you're in show business, you never know how long your shelf life is." In addition, Larry struggled with a developing sense of burnout and disappointment with the comedy business. Instead of limiting himself to a single humorous character, he expressed his desire to challenge himself artistically and explore new creative possibilities. I felt like I had reached a point where I was just going through the motions, rehashing the same material and characters, Larry said. I wanted to attempt something new and different and stretch my creative boundaries, but it looked like the industry wasn't open to that type of change. In addition, Larry has made an effort to dispel any myths or speculations about his exit from comedy. He has made it clear that, contrary to what some had anticipated, his decision was not motivated by any unexpected health issues, legal issues, or personal problems. I know there have been a lot of rumors and speculation out there, but the truth is that this was a personal decision that I made after a lot of careful thought and reflection, Larry said. I'm not leaving the entertainment business completely, but I thought it was time to take a break from the demanding nature of stand-up comedy and pursue other artistic endeavors. Reactions to Larry's choice to retire from comedy were mixed. Some, like his friends from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, Jeff Foxworthy and Bill Engvall, expressed their sadness at his departure from the comedy scene, recognizing his influence on the business and the enjoyable times they had together. Others, however, were relieved or unfazed, believing his comedy to be too simplistic or limited to a particular demographic. Some even regarded his departure as an opportunity to highlight more diverse and professional comedians. As well as the reactions from his colleagues, it made headlines everywhere. The media dug deep into why he left and what it meant for the industry. Some thought it was a sign of the times, that comedy was evolving and audiences wanted more intelligent and socially aware humor. Others celebrated Larry's gift for connecting with his fans and mourned the loss of his one-of-a-kind humor. It was a big conversation starter. His loyal fans were devastated when he suddenly stepped away from comedy, abandoning his iconic redneck persona and Git-R-Done catchphrase. They felt a deep sense of loss, as Larry's unique brand of humor and relatable material had connected them to the common man and made them feel seen. By ending his live performances and television appearances, Larry left a gaping void in the lives of his dedicated followers, who missed their regular dose of his humor and were heartbroken to see him go. Fans of Larry are essentially just happy he has the opportunity to shine. He demonstrated that having Southern roots need not be a source of shame. It's something to be simultaneously happy about and laugh at. It's a lovely thing that he taught us to laugh at our quirks and ourselves, says a fan. Now, for the juicy part, when Larry the Cable Guy left the comic scene, his career took an unexpected turn. To put it mildly, that was an interesting shift. Though, there has been much speculation on the reasons for his choice. One thing is certain, it has been a popular subject of discussion in the entertainment industry. And, well, all we really want to do is spill the tea or tell the story in this case. There are many secrets in the entertainment industry. Major decisions are frequently made behind closed doors, putting the rest of us in the dark. Consider the career of Larry the Cable Guy, which is quite mysterious. The truth is that we might never find out the whole reason behind his exit from the comedy scene, even though we can guess all we want. And that's what makes it all so intriguing, right? Okay, now that we've dug up the dirt on Larry's career curveball, it's time to explore the aftermath. What's next for this comedy icon? Will he make a comeback, or has he truly hung up his mic for good? What's next for Larry? So after years of killing it in the comedy game, Larry the Cable Guy decided to hang up his mic and take a breather from the non-stop grind of stand-up. And you know what? He's enjoyed every minute of it. With his newfound freedom, Larry's been able to explore all sorts of new projects and ventures that let him tap into his creativity and pursue his passions. From acting and voiceover work to popular animated movies like Cars, to hosting his own radio show, The Larry the Cable Guy Show. He hasn't just been talking, he's also been cooking. Leaning into his Southern charm and signature Git-R-Done swagger, he has launched his own brand of BBQ sauces and seasonings because, in his own words, you can't have too much flavor in life. Larry's been keeping busy and having a blast. Who knew that Git-R-Done would become a staple in our kitchens too? And the best part? He's still making us laugh, just in new and exciting ways. I've always been a bit of a tinkerer and a problem solver, Larry explained. The barbecue business just felt like a natural extension of my love for good food and my desire to create something that people could enjoy, he said. However, Larry's influence extends much beyond the work setting or comedy club. In addition, he is a committed philanthropist who uses his influence to positively impact people's lives. He established the Git-R-Done Foundation, which has provided funding for numerous causes, including veteran support, disaster relief, and children's health. Larry's commitment to giving back is truly inspiring, and his foundation has made a tangible impact on countless individuals and communities. He is a living example of the saying, "Great success comes with great responsibility," and his kindness and selflessness teach us all a few things. Larry's commitment to philanthropy is evident in all he does. Giving back has always been important to him, he said humbly in response to a question concerning his philanthropic efforts. "Having experienced so many blessings in my life, I feel obligated to use my position to improve the lives of others." It's evident that Larry's desire to give back is a fundamental aspect of who he is and what motivates him, not just a fleeting idea, and he's channeling that dedication into actual action and impact through his Git-R-Done Foundation. Through his Git-R-Done Foundation, the comic icon has donated millions of dollars to wonderful nonprofit organizations, including Shriners, Hospitals for Children, the American Red Cross, and the Wounded Warrior Project. He has also made significant use of his platform to give back to the community. Both the philanthropic community and fans have praised him greatly for his commitment to these amazing causes. We're loving this side of Larry. Keep on giving back and making us laugh while you're at it. Now that we've seen Larry's life after comedy, the question is, how did he leave his mark on the comedy world? Did he inspire a new generation of comedians? And what's his legacy in the world of laughter? His legacy. As he reflects on his illustrious career, Larry the Cable Guy is quite pleased with the impact he has had on the comedy community. In interviews and public appearances, he has shared details about his legacy and the influence he has had on the industry. He has made a significant impact. Larry feels blessed to have established his own distinct niche and believes that his distinctive blend of Southern charm and humor has introduced a new viewpoint to the general public. He's Git-R-Done, as he puts it, and more. Larry's humble about his impact, but let's be real. He's a total game changer. In his own words, "I never set out to be a trailblazer or a groundbreaker. I just wanted to make people laugh and share the kind of humor that resonated with me and my upbringing." But that's exactly what he did. His unique brand of Southern fried humor connected with millions, and he's proud to have paved the way for other comedians with a similar perspective. As he puts it, "Maybe I opened the door for others, and that's a pretty cool thing." There is no denying his influence on humor. A whole new wave of comedians has been influenced by him, and they are proudly embracing the blue-collar vibe and extensively researching rural American culture for their material. Larry has demonstrated that comedy can be discovered in the most unlikely places by focusing on the experiences and sensibilities of a group of people who are frequently disregarded. His ability to connect with everyday folks has earned him a permanent spot in the Comedy Hall of Fame. Jeff Foxworthy also sings Larry's praises, and for good reason. "Larry the Cable Guy was a true original," he says. "He had a gift for taking the mundane and making it hilarious. His impact on comedy is still felt today, and I feel lucky to have shared the stage with him." As he reflects on his legendary career, Larry the Cable Guy is feeling a lot of gratitude. He's excited to have left a lasting legacy that will continue to make us laugh, and he's happy to have had such an impact on the comedy community. Even though he may not be yelling "Git-R-Done" from the stage anymore, his impact on the industry is still felt today, and that is something to be proud of. In the light of it all, his fans and followers still have their fingers crossed with hopes that the comedic genius gets a major boost in the comedic scene, because at the end of the day, that's what Larry the Cable Guy is all about, bringing the humor and making us have a good time. Thanks for watching. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more interesting content like this.